The Global Right has called on the leaders of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to utilize their natural resources better. The executive director of the organization, Abiodun Baiyewu, made the call while speaking to newsmen in Abuja at a policy conference on inequalities and natural resource management in the ECOWAS region. Baiyewu, who decried the level of inequality in the Nigerian society, says government must show more concern for the welfare of Nigerians in its management and distribution of resources.
Nigeria is one of the richest resource countries in the world, and yet that our poverty levels are extremely high, that it's not translating to wealth for citizens, and the inequality gaps are just too wide. Some of the issues that have been identified, of course, are the mismanagement of natural resources, conflicting policies by governments, the failure to look at the impact of climate change on natural resource governance, state capture continues. State capture, impunity, and corruption continue to be a resounding theme around these issues. We need a people-centered governance of natural resources. That's where to start from. That we must put power back in the hands of ordinary people in West Africa, in Nigeria, to determine how those resources, whether they should be honest or not, and that if they are, we must be able to put enough power in the hands of people to make informed decisions about it. Democracy is not just about electing people into offices, but also about people choosing what happens with their resources, natural resources being one of them. Ensuring that people are able to take the information they have, make the right decision that ensure that even the poorest amongst us are able to harness the benefits of the natural resources that our country offers. One of them is agriculture, and that we must look at tapping into the natural resources that agriculture affords us. The other is solid minerals. We're coming to the end of oil very soon. Nigeria also needs to begin to think about the end of oil and what will happen with our solid minerals. So we have such a lot of solid minerals across the country: gold, sapphire, and we must think about which one of them are ready to be honest and which ones we should leave in the soil.
Does natural resource governance promote or facilitate inequality? And then you can also look at it the other way. If it does, how can you also use natural resource governance to address inequality in our socio-economic lives? If you look at the SDG 6, if you look at the SDG 4, if you look at the SDG 12, all of them seem to be linked to addressing or reducing the SDG 10, which is reducing inequality. So, using natural resource governance or managing our natural resources revenues efficiently, how can we use that tool? How can we use this very resource to reduce inequality, the inequality of income disparity, the inequality of gender inclusion or exclusion, the inequality of beneficiation or benefit sharing at the community level? How can you use the natural resource governance to reduce these inequalities, particularly when it comes to those who are supposed to be benefiting from our natural resources?
One of the hallmark of good governance is that institutions that actually protect human rights and which environmental rights are actually part of human rights, by the way, must be strengthened. They must be able to do their jobs properly. They must have the tools, the right training, whatever they need to be able to carry out these things. There has to be rule of law too. We can't actually do things that, okay, this person is untouchable, that person is touchable, that kind of thing. So there has to be rule of law. There has to be, we have to combat corruption within the system. Regulatory agencies are also known to have problems with corruption, and so that has to be dealt with. And then we have to actually look at what we do as service to Nigerians. So we'll have to actually take on a service delivery kind of perspective to our work. And I feel that if some of these things are done, we can help to contribute our quota as regulatory agencies to evening the playing ground of inequality and bringing wise natural resources management.
The whole idea, for instance, we have people, students are out of school in the last 5 months or so, graduates are Okada riders, people are mining in the communities, and the first thing that our government thinks to do is want to ban Okada and to ban mining. What are the alternatives? Are we increasing the inequalities? Are we increasing the access to people so that they can have income and have a good livelihood, or we are further digging a grave and putting them? When on the tables, in the books, Nigeria is a natural resource rich country that cannot take care of its citizens. It's a fundamental question. We need to address that. We need to assess it, and we need to continuously bring solutions to this. And this has nothing about ethnicity. It has nothing about religion. It is about you and I as Nigerians and the future of tomorrow.
During the COVID-19 health crisis, health was the main focus. And so environmental issues, development issues in those regions were put on the back burner. What happens in this future, where the resources, even though available, there is no market for it on the global stage? What then will we then use to support the teeming population that is coming behind us? Now we're 200 million. By 2050, we're estimated to have another 200 million. So it will be 400 million. We cannot take care of the needs of those that we have now. What will happen then? How are we planning for it? It is important, it is critical that we plan not just for ourselves, but for the future. But if we're unable to take care of our own present needs, what then happens to the future? Insecurity is ramping up. Sure, there tend to be bad actors potentially, but a lot of people are unable to take care of their families, are unable to take care of their children. What options do they then have?